Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today, we talk about assist hooks. So, we are going to be talking about something housekeeping. Okay. This is something that we kind of just as tradition, we actually kind of go through the motions and talk about cert like parts of a jigging system or whatever system, and then we break it down so that people that are starting out can just follow a playlist, and then they can see exactly all the elements. Now, before we start, we'd like to thank the sponsor of this series, which is Barracuda Fishing Equipment here in Dubai. They are the largest and most complete tackle shop as far as any fishing is concerned, bar none. There's no other shop that comes close to Barracuda. And I'm not just saying that. You have to go to this place and compare all the rest that you see. But even the Japanese, when they come over, they see the shop and they just go, wow. Okay, so there's two shops, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. There will be partnerships with other shops, perhaps, or other locations within the UAE. That's A. And they will be having their own website to service those outside of the UAE area, or, those guys around the region or wherever in the world wants to buy from them. The website is there. Or those people that just don't have the time to go to the shop. And, like, take for example, if, like, for me, I live 3 states down. I could just like tell them, like, this is what I need, have it delivered, and then I'll have, because guess what? I already know what I need. So for those guys that probably want to buy something that's limited edition for here in the UAE, it'd be a good idea, just order online or whatever. So right now you can actually reach them on WhatsApp. And it's as easy as actually going to their Instagram or their Facebook, search Barracuda Fishing Equipment, and then bam. Now, it's no secret that I've been working with Barracuda ever since they actually opened their present location. In fact, I was one of those that were literally hanging stocks. After work, we would go there, all hang out. My fishing group, the owner, we're very good friends. We'd hang out, put the stocks in and everything. And also, not only are we good friends with the owner, but I'm sure that some of you know that his son, Faisal, has been under my wing since he was 6 years old. And by God, that guy can fish now. And Wael, which the guy that I always mention, is his fishing buddy. Alrighty. Anyway, so a little bit of a talk about assist hooks. This is more of a housekeeping thing. Okay, and I'll be talking about two special assist hooks within this video. Well, just a heads up. All right. Now, as far as assist hooks on jigs are concerned, there are manufacturers that already put really good hooks on their jigs for shore jigging specifically. Okay. I'll mention a few names. There's Owner, of course. Major Craft already have them rigged, although we'll talk more extensively about that in a bit. But there's also Sea Falcon. Okay, so Sea Falcon, I helped them out with these, so they should be okay. I hope. All right. So when these jigs, especially the Peche, have been introduced, they didn't come with hooks, and now they do. So when you're buying Peches, especially the smaller sizes, they're already rigged and ready to go. Alrighty, so here's a very good example in one of my favorite colors there. So bang. And there's actually a video of me casting this particular jig and catching like a nice sized stingray. And fortunately for us, I actually filmed it from start to finish. So, you can watch that video. It is in the Fishing Adventures playlist. Now, all right, so Major Craft have these. and they're actually quite decent. I'm not gonna say that they're really good, because guess what? Actually do something with them, actually make them really good. As far as the Dubai versions or the UAE versions of the Major Craft jigs are concerned, you'll know that you'll have them. Okay, if you buy them from Barracuda, they're the official dealers here, but they have red eyes and the hooks are beefed up for our use here. Years ago, what happened was that my fishing group actually asked the owner of Barracuda to import these, and he said like, "Oh man, they're kind of too small." We go like, you know what? Just import them. We'll slowly buy them. Just get 100 in, and then we'll slowly, you know, just use them for our purpose, and then sure. So basically, Barracuda is like our tackle box. Okay, I'm not gonna shy to say that, because literally I'm one of those few people that can pick, rods, reels, lines, everything, within the whole dealer sphere that they have, and just tell them like, hey, let's buy a little bit of this because I want to use them, and he'll do it. Okay, this is one of them. And we said like, hey, let's just buy, and this and this and that, and then we slowly kind of use them, and then very successful. And then after that, he said like, hey, you know what? Let's share. Okay, so that's how this became available publicly, and a few people actually kind of picked it up at first. They didn't know what it was until they have found how effective it was, and then before you know it, boom. And that's how micro jigging in the UAE actually boomed. Now, going back to the assist hooks, these guys already have the assist hooks and the trebles. But then when we went to Japan and met with Major Craft, we told them what we were doing, because they're actually designed for Aji, or Big Eye Scad. So, Big Eye Scad, Mebaru, small fish, but we were catching something kind of big, and majority of what we were targeting were actually narrowbarred mackerel excuse me, for these jigs. So we needed something beefier. So in that particular meeting, we asked them to upgrade the hooks. And it was actually kind of interesting, because they asked us exactly what type of hooks we want. Do we want the hooks that kind of stretched out a little bit before it broke, so technical stuff like that. And I showed them exactly what we were catching, so they kind of understood. Not kind of, of course they understood. So we met with the expert director and the president of Major Craft for that particular thing. And we told them that if you do this for us, then we'll order a lot. And until this day, Barracuda is probably one of the biggest consumers of this jig worldwide. That's why we have our own version. Red eyes, beefed up hooks. So what happened then was that there was a significant improvement on the quality of the hooks that were put in, and the eyes, of course, because here in this region, the eyes are kind of important. Now, the assist hooks, when you're buying, most of the time you can't really rely on the manufacturers to actually put it on correctly. So sometimes the hooks are turned in when you kind of use them correctly. Okay, so there's no solid ring. Now, the reason why is that if we actually ask them to put a solid ring, the cost would increase significantly. And people, although they bitch a lot, don't want to pay for shit like that. They want the best stuff for cheap. That's why the Chinese jigs actually proliferate. They don't really care much about anything, just as long as it's cheap. So it kind of stayed as is. And as it is, even if it was cheap, a lot of people actually buy the Chinese stuff. Anyway, so when you get this, what I have done is, as per the previous video, I actually rigged a solid ring on it. Okay, so solid ring, and then it works really well. So if you are, kind of a nerd when it comes to these things, do this and it'll be better. It'll work better. Okay. So it's same version as this one right here. You just put a solid ring, tie onto the solid ring, and it works well. Now, there are some manufacturers like this one right here that already put an advanced type assist hook on the jig. And this is why I bought this, even if I hated the color. This was on sale. But if you look at the assist hook that they put here, notice where the flash is oriented. That's something that you need to look at. And the hook that they have here, silver, is very different from the hook that they have here. Okay. And the hook, the dark hook, is actually a hook that is coated with PTFE, or what we call Teflon. And that's something that I need to talk to you about. Okay. Now, same here with this hook from Major Craft. This comes in with the slow versions of the jigs. This is the Major Craft slow jig para slow. This actually, you could use this offshore or inshore, and it actually works really well. Now, I like the rear hook. Okay, I like how they done the rear hook, but I kind of really hate how they did the front hook. All right, so they just looped it on there. It's too short to modify, but what you could actually do, and also note that look, it's actually not put on correctly. It's kind of pointing out. So sometimes it's just kind of as easy as re-looping them. A and B, what you could also do is take your bobbin and wrap that so that it becomes kind of like an ordinary assist hook that's wrapped there, and you can have your hooks like that, and then you can attach another solid ring here, and off you go. Okay, so there are a bunch of things that you can do to make things better. For me, I just take this off and replace it. Okay, I take the hooks, replace it, use the hooks to make assist hooks with, and Bob's your uncle. Now, you could really nerd out when it comes to these things, and the sky's the limit as far as that is concerned. Okay. Now, one company that does a very good job, actually not very good, but a hell of a job when it comes to shore jigging and the assist hooks that they put on, is Owner. Now, if you've been around for some time, you would have probably seen a giveaway. That was the 12,000 giveaway from Owner in this channel. Now, if you have not seen that video, I'll probably link it in the description below. But they gave away a Nagewasa jig. And with the Nagewasa is this particular assist hook. Now, what's special about this assist hook is the fact that it is, they say it's snag proof, but I would say it's semi-snag proof. So basically, when you cast out and the jig reaches the bottom, this hook will flip over and they will fall with the hook point up. Now, if the hook point is up and there's structure here, it means that it won't snag. So when it reaches the bottom, it'll also sit like this. Now, they've perfectly balanced the hook with how sparse this thing is. It acts like a parachute. So two things that it does, it always orientates the hook where it's hook point up, so that when the fish bites, it always hits the top jaw is actually softer than the lower jaw, FYI. So that when they bite, it's already positioned to hit the soft part of the mouth, which is a very good thing, and it keeps the hook away from snags. Okay, not entirely a new tech, because guess what, they already introduced something like that with the flash assist too. So you can see here that flash is tied onto one side, and what this does is create enough drag so that the hook is always positioned sideways. So when you're putting it on a this is designed for actually micro and uh, micro on the boat, or shore fishing. So basically, this is sideways, and it's always going to be on this plane. So if you put it on this one, it would always be close to the body, and keeps it away from trouble. But more importantly, it actually aims the hook onto the mouth of the fish. Here's a very good example for the slow jig. As you can see here, it's always going to be in that position, and it's not going to twist on you or whatever. That's that. It's by design, and this came from yours truly. Okay. Now, another thing that you should look at is also these colors right here. These are UV reactive. Okay, meaning that when the water is murky, they will have what's called in the industry, what's called as a hot spot. Basically, a place for them to aim, and with certain certain angles of sunlight in especially in low light conditions. This is where the UV is actually at its highest UV rays. So what happens is that when you're fishing this, say really early morning, or late in the afternoon, these things will kind of glow because of the UV reaction. Now the fish will home in to those. They could be something that they could use as targets, or again, hot spots is what we call them, and then they will bite that part of the jig. Now sometimes I'll show you the secret of some jigs. Sometimes you'll have jigs that are also UV reactive themselves. So you could see that this just kind of glows. You see how the pink actually glows? Okay. So some jigs, the glow is here. That's UV reactive. See? Jig para. Okay. Boom. You see the color? How, see? So some jigs are actually UV reactive, and that makes them kind of very visible, very useful for water that is stained, and conditions where the water is not clear. Now, when the water is super clear, this is where you use assist hooks with either no flash, very little flash, and flash that don't have UV reactive colors. Okay, so you'll find that I would always fish the trebles without anything. Sometimes put a feather on that just so that it has like a little bit of movement, but most of the time it's the assist hooks that would have the flash. So the assist hooks, again, I'll go back to something that I've learned in fly fishing: the sparser the better. Okay, so as you can see here, that sparse actually really good. This is also pretty sparse, and this is actually also kind of on the sparse side. But see, here's the thing, that is actually because of the hook. So the hook's a little bit heavier, and this kind of or this much actually affects the hook and its positioning. So something for you to really look at. All right, so to recap, there are a lot of jigs that are actually already rigged. Sometimes, like these jig paras, you need to really look at the orientation of the hook, and either your decision, either you put a solid ring there or not. What I do, I just put a solid ring, reuse them, and that's good. But remember, the Barracuda version is kind of different from everything else that's available around the world. Um, the the assist hook technology, as far as hooks are concerned, the there are gray colored ones that, like this one, have the PTFE coating, and I would encourage everyone to actually make their own assist hooks and use those types of hooks. Okay, so for me, I have a lot of these made up. Okay, with the PTFE coated hooks. The brand that has a lot of that, okay, in owner, they call it Super Fusu, right there, or sorry, Magic Fusu. So whenever you find an owner hook and it says Magic Fusu, it means it has a PTFE coating. This is a jigger light model JF42, and this is what I use a lot of. In fact, you know, the first hooks when I designed these, I used those hooks, but then we agreed on these because these were newer than the JFs, JF42s, and also there's a space here that actually, when it's hooked, it holds the meat, and it has a really positive holding power. So we chose that over the hook when we made the final decision to make this, the assist hooks. So that's why we didn't use the PTFE. But the PTFE I also use when times are tough, when I need that one fish to land. Because one thing I don't like is actually setting the hook. I find that especially in shallower water, there's hardly any stretch on the line. Now remember, when you're fishing, let's say you're shore jigging, you're limited to how far your cast is, that's A, and B, how the depth in front of you goes. Okay, so if you are fishing in a place where there's deep water access, so you're able to fish deeper, but it's still not going to be as deep as, say, in the ocean. Okay, so the stretch on the line and the cushioning effect, or the lack thereof, works against you. That's why I don't like setting the hook when I am shore jigging. So I tend to use PTFE more, because when the fish grabs it, I know that the hook point has already penetrated, and that's something. Again, you could nerd out about this. You could disagree with me, and maybe you fish more than I do. Great, maybe you have more experience than me, but this is a 101 video, and I'm sharing something that I have, kind of my findings over the course of time. So, PTFE doesn't require you to set the hook, because as soon as the fish grabs the hook and there's a little bit of resistance from the fish, the hook just penetrates on its own. So I like using those types of hooks, especially when I'm shore jigging. Okay, it's also one of the reasons why I bought this, and I don't even know this brand. Okay, so I just thought that, hey, that's a very good design for a 10 gram, very useful for shallow water, and I don't need to make the hooks. Another thing, for the recap, to actually emphasize, is the flash. So wherever the flash is, it actually kind of steers the hook, and owner does a great job with these. Okay, so the main purpose of these is that it kind of steers the hook away from snags, and that's the main design. Okay, however, because it's hook point up, what happens is that it's also targeting the fish in the upper jaw, which is the softer part of the mouth, where you want the hooks to target anyway. So as a bonus, it gives you those two things. Okay, PTFE, the placement of the flash, and of course, putting the solid ring on the assist hooks that are ready made just to make the assist hooks that are pre-made better, okay, or elements that you need to look for. Now, here's the thing: when you're making your own assist hooks, you could do all of these things as a default. And this is why I always encourage people to make their own assist hooks, because you can literally do all of these things according to how you want them. And guess what? You will have a far advanced assist hook, and it will work better for you. It might be difficult when you first start out. However, when you start doing them regularly, they're actually kind of easy and it's fun. So which means that, when you're not out fishing, you're actually doing something that's fishing related, keeps you from going crazy. Alrighty. So that's it for this video. And I hope you really liked or learned something from it. And if you have, give it a thumbs up. Alrighty. Very, very important for the YouTube algorithm. And also share and comment. Okay. If you haven't yet and you want to learn more, subscribe. If you want to support this channel, go ahead and click on that membership button. I've stopped the hats for the time being because, my God, they haven't delivered the first orders yet, and that kind of pissed me off. So more than likely, we're going to be changing suppliers. Alrighty. And if you have bought the hat, I've told them to actually refund. But if not, then maybe you could ask for a refund as well. But yeah, let's get in touch and then, let's work things out. Because I've had it with this supplier. Alrighty. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.